Good morning. Welcome to the channel. Let's talk about the Arbiter today. What do you say? Not just one of them. Let's talk about all of them. And I want to talk about all of them because they're all play so different on the string, but they very much so have the Arbiter shape. So a lot of different play across the board in the same looking package. The original Arbiter, we had the Elite, we had the Banshee SS, and then the Arbiter, inner ring, bimetal. And the Banshee SS at that point was probably our flagship, I would say, our most loved yo-yo. Banshee line usually continues to do that. It's just a fan favorite between the shape and the style of play it hits, where it's like a 75% competitive, but not over the top, but also not too laid back. So the Arbiter, we wanted something with a little more, I'm going to call it mid-weight. So we moved the rings into the middle, and we also have thicker walls on the Arbiter. During play, you can definitely feel that it is a more, I'm going to say solid. Is that the perfect name for it? No, but you can feel the weight throughout the entire yo-yo. That's the best way I have to describe it. Where you feel the most mass of the yo-yo is more towards the middle, and that's what you get with the original Arbiter, which is what we wanted for that hole in the lineup at that time. The original Arbiter has since been retired, and we had many people asking for an updated Arbiter, an outer ring Arbiter. Well, then along came the Arbiter X. Arbiter X was a Patreon exclusive drop. So it went out for monthly shipments, and then we had a couple of drops over there as well to hit a few more people that missed out on the drops. But with it being that exclusive model, there's not a ton of them out there. But what this did was it really took the weight and pushed it to the rims. We thinned out the center of the yo-yo a little bit, thinned out the walls a little bit, not completely, because I wanted it to have a little bit of that Arbiter feel still outside of just the Arbiter box, the Arbiter shape. Those changes made this yo-yo much faster, much more stable. It had a lot more momentum. This likes to cruise at a top speed of, I want to say, like 85%. It's just a beautiful pace overall. It can, when you really want to push it, lag just a tad behind. It's like it hits its max speed when you have just a little tiny bit more to go in specific speed combos. Overall, really happy with what this became, and I know a lot of people loved this yo-yo as well. A lot of people said that was our best yo-yo at the time that this came out, that we had made. That's going to be different for everybody, but really nice improvements, I think, on the Arbiter after the Banshee SS was retired as well, to fill that gap a little bit there and a more competitive bimetal style. That brings us to today's Arbiter, the AL7 Arbiter X. Now yes, Arbiter X, but the redesign is a good bit, and while it fits directly in that Arbiter shape, again that Arbiter X shape even with the outer rings, when you play this yo-yo, like I said on the Arbiter X, you can sometimes top it out and it feels like you're pulling it a little bit through. You cannot top this out. You cannot get to the point where the Arbiter X doesn't have more speed to give. The speed and agility on this is unmatched. What do we do versus the Arbiter X on this yo-yo? I took down the center and the walls as small as you could go, also switching to 7068 aluminum so we could go thinner. So we took the weight out of the body, put it all on the rims, and with that I also brought the weight down though, because as you increase that weight out on the rims, you can run into issues if you keep the weight the same or keep the weight too high. And I say those issues because it doesn't play the way I want a yo-yo to play. This plays exactly the way I want a yo-yo to play. We did a brass version. This is the stainless steel version. This is heavier than the brass version. This is just under 61 grams. Kind of seems to be the sweet spot right now for what I love in a yo-yo. But the MOI, the rims, the thickness in the stainless steel, and the outer rim of the aluminum right there are enough to make this yo-yo extremely stable. Where you think you could have issues if that yo-yo is too light. This is just where I think yo-yo design has gotten to up until this point. This is the perfect interpretation of a high-end bimetal, more so for everybody. Where now it's not an Arbiter, but the Wraith is very much in that competitive realm. This is like your step down. I'm going to call it the Average Throwers Club bimetal. I love where this yo-yo hits. The brass version did only come in at 58 grams versus this one. Well, it's 58 and change. This is 60 and change, I guess. So mostly a 2-gram change, and it's all on the rim. Normally when you swap out rings from brass to stainless steel, the yo-yo is going to become lighter. So we made some slight design changes to increase the total weight, but just putting the weight in the rim to get where we're at with the stainless steel AL7X. I think that extra weight just solidifies the yo-yo on stability and momentum, where the brass version had agility just off the charts. But I felt kind of like it was a little bit reckless at some times when you were speeding through tricks and you felt like you could get off plane, where I think the extra weight here on the stainless steel version kind of fixed that issue for me. Not necessarily issue, but it adjusted that. It kind of adjusted that feeling, adding the weight there. Eventually I've got the AL7 version going out as a Patreon shipment, and kind of after we see how everybody likes this drop, how they like that shipment, if everybody agrees with the way I feel about this yo-yo, yes, there will be more down the road. If for some reason I don't believe I did miss the mark and people don't agree with me on this yo-yo, then there not necessarily won't be more. But I'm so confident in this yo-yo. It's coming with the old G squared. If you don't like it, send it back, guarantee. I kind of think about it like cars. So you'll have a car that'll change slightly in shape over the time, and you change the year. So as technology changes, the car changes, but the name stays the same because there's brand loyalty and where it fits in that lineup for that brand. So I like doing that with yo-yos as well. Technology changes a little bit, but for the most part, design experience is huge, and you learn how to manipulate a yo-yo in the design side before the machining. So I might be constrained to that Arbiter box, but there's a lot I can do with that Arbiter box with the experience I've had now making so many different yo-yos, and I kind of love evolving a similar yo-yo to play differently as the consumer's play changes, what they like, and as I just get better or different in my tastes and design ideas. This yo-yo is going to be a fan favorite for anybody that's not directly competing. I think that you could compete with this. With the lighter weight though, some of your very, very long combos might have to be more precise. But I also think you could get through those long combos faster. But for that competitive, focused player, I think the Wraith is still going to reign supreme. But if you like speed and agility, along with great stability, you're gonna love this yo-yo, and I think that's where it's gonna hang out in the G2 lineup. Just players bimetal is what I want to call it, with the ability to compete, but not necessarily designed specifically for that, where the Wraith kind of had that specific input. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and yes, you want an AL7 Arbiter X.